Elon Musk may not deserve an ounce of credit for founding Tesla because he didn't. I will never stop reminding people of that. He neither founded it nor did any of the engineering of the cars or anything like that. But he should receive, I think, at least close to 100% of the blame for destroying the brand's reputation in near record time. And we've got a variety of different numbers to go over here demonstrating what the effect of having a frontman like Elon Musk can be. And for a long time, they sort of just, they rode on, he generates headlines. He hypes things up, he lies about timelines and capabilities and the cost of things, but the tech journalists don't care because this gets people to read their magazines, so they never call him on it. And that made the company big. Well, now he's the front man who's doing, Nazi salutes on stage, and that's probably gonna hurt you. So let's see, what are Tesla sales actually doing? So in California, so that's the US state that leads in EV sales. Okay, so in 2024, EV sales of all non-Tesla brands increased by 1.4%. Meanwhile, Tesla sales declined by 11.6%. That was their #1 state for sales in the US. So that's a pretty steep drop. But it's not just the US that we're talking about here. So let's talk about worldwide. In Germany, that's Europe's biggest car market, Tesla has been the German EV sales champ for some time. Last month, their sales in Germany dropped by 60% compared to 1 year ago. So that's comparing January of 2025 to January of 2024, a 60% drop. In France, year over year, Tesla sales dropped by 63% in January. In the UK, overall EV sales were up 7%. Tesla sales were down 8%. In China, January's Tesla sales were down by 11.5% year over year. And if you have been following this, Elon Musk has for years been trying to break more into the Chinese market. That does not appear to be doing well at this point. And you could sort of see why some of these numbers would go down. I don't know why, when you have him coming in to like Germany, for instance, and trying to look as hard as he can for the most neo-Nazi-esque politicians to support. A lot of Germans are probably not gonna be big fans of that. Seeing him do the Nazi salute probably isn't gonna make you popular in some parts of the world. And so you can take a look at how tied to your political ID, your view of Tesla has become. Bearing in mind that Tesla has always been, it's an electric car company. That's lib stuff, right? Well, now Trump supporters are far more likely to have a positive view of it. Only 41% of those who voted for Harris view it favorably. And bear in mind, those libs are still far more likely to actually buy an electric car. Like some of these conservatives might look at it favorably, but they also think that electric cars are stupid and shouldn't exist. So not a great business plan necessarily. And by the way, for those looking to buy an EV in the next year, comparing it to other brands, it's now trailing like Ford and VW. I barely even know which EVs VW makes, but people have a higher view of them. And you can see that unfavorability at 37%, way higher than a lot of these other brands. And its overall brand identification, you only have to go back like 3 years for it to be the top 10 most admired brands of all products. And now you look at it over time, it's dropped down significantly. It was in 8th place in 2021. It's now in 63rd, okay? On attributes like character, trust, and ethics, it's in the 70s. It's way beyond, but lower now than other car manufacturers. Honda's at 7th, Toyota at 12th, Subaru at 15th. General Motors, which people love to dog on, they're doing way better than Ford right now, or than Tesla right now. Ford is as well. And you can also see, we'll close on this, their stock price going down. It sort of rallied a little bit after Trump won, and now that's going down once again. And certainly, negative headlines about Elon Musk don't help. Negative headlines like this, that the Tesla Cybertruck is 17 times more likely to lead to fire fatalities than the Ford Pinto was, which late night comics joked about for literally years. All of this is not good for the brand, which leads me to wonder, at what point do they just get rid of him? And then maybe get rid of the Cybertruck. And then you'll probably be doing much better, David. But what do you make of all this?
Well, I think he's doing to Tesla what he did to Twitter, right? He took Twitter, which was a valuable tool for a lot of people, which had certain basic rules and standards, and tried to weed out the hatred and the xenophobia and the racism, and try to make sure that people were speaking in facts on Twitter. And he essentially turned that into his own playpen and chased a lot of progressive voices away and brought in a lot of racism and a lot of vile, like the worst in America is now on X. And so, okay, he destroyed the value of Twitter by turning it to X and doing all this nonsense. Now he's almost like he's doing the same thing with Tesla, in part because one of the other reasons that Tesla's hurting right now is because the Trump administration is stripping out all the funding for electric vehicle recharging stations across the United States. So the infrastructure is not there to support electric vehicles, although Tesla's doing worse than other ones. So, and again, his own sort of reputation, Elon Musk's polling among Republicans continues to plummet. And I think people are just sort of sick of him. They don't like what he's doing to social media. They don't like what he's doing to governance, and they don't like what he has been doing to Tesla.
Yeah, 100%. And again, none of this is like necessary, really. Like, again, he didn't found Tesla. He didn't come up with the concepts for most of these cars, except for the dumbest one. And so, like, if they got rid of him, I think they would do much better. There's reasons to like Teslas. I find their designs to be a little bit boring, and they barely iterate year to year. And there's a lot of issues like that. And Elon Musk, despite everybody saying literally the only thing we want is an affordable EV, he decided to make the Cybertruck instead. So again, bad CEO. They could just get rid of him, but I don't think they're gonna do that because their board of directors is now packed with Musk cultists that seem to love him, despite the fact that not only is he out there doing damage to their brand identity, but like, does anyone think that he's doing the job of CEO right now? There and at SpaceX and at Twitter and all that, he's living in the Department of Education building with a bunch of 17-year-old boys. You think he's actually functioning as a CEO? I know I'm not a businessman or whatever, but I don't understand why this is how businesses work. And by the way, tomorrow on the program, we're gonna dive into, we gave you a little bit of a taste there with the fire thing with the Ford Pinto. There was just recently released an evaluation of automobile safety that is scathing towards Tesla. And we're gonna dive into all of the numbers on tomorrow's show. So definitely tune in for Big News Wednesday.